topic that I think about a lot is what makes us human and why are we so different from everything else? I mean, I have my thoughts on that. Maybe I'll discuss in this video, maybe I won't, but just what makes us human? What's the markers of, being a human? I think that, you know, the idea that we have language, we can communicate, and we can tell stories, storytelling. To me, I think storytelling is the big one. We all know how to tell stories. I mean, some of us are better than others at telling the story, but we're all storytellers. I mean, we've been doing it for literally millions of years, probably around a campfire, telling about the story of the hunt, the story of finding the new land, the story of finding a new mate, the story of finding, hey, this is how I met your mother. I mean, that might have been like a prehistoric show around a campfire before it was ever a TV show. We're just retelling the same story, right? We've been telling the same story over and over and over again for you. The hero's story, the hero's journey. If you don't know what that is, it's a story arc that everything's pretty much about, unless you're very creative and make something different, which rarely happens because we know the stories we like. It's kind of ingrained in us. So I think storytelling is very, very important. I think that we should embrace storytelling. Go listen to your grandparents. Go listen to your parents. Go, the theme that I talk about a lot, go talk to the people you don't agree with and listen to them. We don't embrace storytelling because it seems so natural. We just talk and blah, 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 blah. We talk on the phone. I go like this, but actually we talk on the phone, right? And we text and we do our texting and we watch TV and we don't communicate like we used to, like face to face anymore all that much. It's weird. We become estranged in the computer. I'm talking to you now culture, which is great. At least we're communicating, right? But communication is definitely a part that makes us human as well. Storytelling, really communicating. We build things, right? That's another thing too. But we're so unnatural in this world. I guess I will understand, my thoughts of why we're here and who we are, what we are. And I have unconventional thoughts on this, so to each their own. That's my thoughts. So we're good at building things. We're good at making things. We're good at storytelling. We're good at remembering. We're good at setting. We can set points in the future. We can't do any other things. You can't tell a horse to meet you there tomorrow or a pig. They expect you at 8 a.m., but you can't have them meet you somewhere at a certain time at a certain place. I think I've heard people say that. It makes sense. There's certain things we learn how to do as humans, and we become very good at it. But now this humanity aspect that we all share, like I said, the communication, the storytelling aspect, but we're kind of unnatural on this planet too, right? If you look at everything else that's on this planet here, everything kind of fits in, right? Except for us. We're the only ones that like completely modify and change our environments. There's things that dig holes and burrows and dug holes into dirt mounds and stuff and things of that nature. Beavers build stuff. They're great engineers. Crows are great at figuring out things and bring you prizes and toys, but none of these things, well, except for maybe beavers. Beavers have changed the landscape a lot. They used to build dams and build dams. They can change the landscape, but besides that, I mean, they're not building mass structures that are that could be polluting or people. I mean, they haven't communicated that way and lived that way. So we are very unnatural on this planet, and I don't understand a lot of times evolutionary how we could be here because all we do is consume and change, and we don't fit in harmony. I guess we're not in a balance. We're in a consume and consume and consume and consume until it's gone, and that's it. We're done. Maybe everything's like that, but there's something usually to keep those other things in check, like there's only so many rabbits because things kill them, whether it be domestic cats that are out there, whether it be coyotes, whether it be wolves, owls kill cats, a lot of things. Those things all have a purpose and a place, and there's a balance in there. Nothing kills us except for we kill each other. We're good at that. That's our balance. Nature kills us too, I guess. But we don't really fit in on this planet. That's what's always been strange to me. We got really big brains that developed out of nowhere. And that's one thing, even in the theory of evolution, we don't really grasp is our eyeballs and our brains, how they got big so quick. because soft tissue doesn't preserve, and it's hard to really grasp how these things develop. But our brains got really big. We know that the skulls got bigger at a certain time, and we got really smart really quick. And then all of a sudden, like 50,000 years ago, I believe it was, somewhere in that range, we just started creating artwork. And it might go back further. We'll find stuff. But somewhere along the line, we just really started being creative and communicating. And since then, we've been dominating the planet. I mean, we killed off every other species that was like us, because there were several other species we bred with that we know of. It's in our DNA. And we killed them all off. They aren't here anymore. They're gone. But we're still here. We killed a lot of creatures off too along the way, according to science that we know of. We endangered species a lot of stuff, right? One of the most recent one was like carrier pigeons. There were so many pigeons in this country one time in black in the sky, and now they are gone. A lot of creatures, we just, we kill them to kill them because it's fun and it's food and it's easy. They didn't have predators for the longest time, so they ran out of control, and now we became the dominant predator and killed everything off. But we don't really fit in. So why are we here? I think about why. What makes us human? What's our purpose? What's our function? What's my purpose? What's my function? More importantly, because I can only think of what I know specifically here and the things around me. I have empathy and I feel things for other people and I embrace other cultures and I get all that. But truly, in my mind, I can understand the body that I'm in here somehow. And what makes me me? That's a question. I don't know. I don't really know. I think this body's mine, but it's not. It's a bunch of nerves and stuff that give me the illusion. What I see is an illusion. What I feel is an illusion. I don't control everything. My body's got so much living things in it and cells and organs. It's baffling. I kind of like maybe run this thing a little bit. It's like I kind of like the boss of the show. But what are you? Where are you? That's another question. Where are you? Think about that for a minute. Where are you? No, don't tell me address, zip code, blah, 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 coordination points. No, where are you? Where is you? Is it your eyeballs? Do you feel you're in the back of the head? Are you in the body? Because really, you have what's here, right? This is your senses. And touch too. But you have your senses are right here. You hear, you see, you smell, you taste. All. So this is what we think. That's what I think I am. So other animals are like that too. We are a product of this planet. And we definitely are. Other things are by symmetry, split to size. That's very common on the planet, right? So we're a product of this planet, but how did we climb so quick, so fast? Were we altered? Were we manipulated? Was our DNA manipulated? I mean, all the ancient texts and religions talk about creation of us and other things being here that were before us, and how there were versions of us that were super us, I guess we'll say. And I don't want to pinpoint any religion, but you just study it. There's a lot of religions that talk about godlike creatures and the sons of gods and the daughters of men. And I mean, there's so. And when did this DNA take over, and when did it populate the earth, and when did we become different? And if it was something that came here, manipulated us, and changed us, some of the ancient stories are wild on this stuff, that they created us to mine for gold, that we have obedience built in our DNA. That's why we worship stuff. That's why we love gold. There's just, I don't know, a lot of theories and some science, loose stuff to back it up. Maybe the science isn't that great that backs it up, but these are stories that I wonder. Because we just came out of nowhere, and supposedly somebody came here and taught us culture, language, blah, 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 and gave us the gift of knowing. Now we have that. So what could that be, What could that be? Could that be a god? And what's God? Okay. Well, we're kind of godlike now. We create things that never existed before. One example is a bacteria that we manipulated that now smells like bananas, I believe. So it doesn't smell like farts when they have to go to see if bacteria grew. Instead of open up and smell farts, now they smell bananas, so it's more pleasant. We created that. There's a lot of things we've created. We create species of fish by hybridizing. All of our animals, pretty much, all of our domesticated animals, dogs, cats, sheep, cattle, chickens, or We made them, right? They weren't here before until we meddled with it and made it. We can create life. We can manipulate life. We can change your DNA. But we don't necessarily play around with it. We have the ability to already right now. In 100 years, we have the ability to do all kinds of stuff. We have that ability right now. So what makes a God, right? What is God? Is it the ability to create something from nothing? Is that God? I don't know. What if we are manipulated? They came here, and according to a lot of ancient stories, they took the highest type of DNA, the primate DNA, and they gave us some bigger brains. Or maybe another option is we could have ate mushrooms. That's another thing people say that happened. But somehow our brains grew and we were manipulated through something. Whether we ate some mushrooms that made our brains grow, or whether we were manipulated by a god, and that story still remnants there about creating us, and that's why we're smart and smarter than creatures, and we have, we know things, like even Adam and Eve. Now you know, all of a sudden, because you ate from the knowledge of good and evil. I don't know, but you get my point. Is there's a time when we didn't have this, and now we have this consciousness just out of nowhere. It's a hell of a thing to develop overnight in reality. Maybe we don't understand how dolphins, maybe they have just as cultured as we are, but I don't see it. We don't see physical aspects of it. They're not building houses underwater. Maybe we haven't found it yet. But so they know dolphins aren't building stuff that's to the quality and scale of what we're doing, right? They're not able to kill each other with guns they put together. So what if this God did come here with this alien, this whatever, stopped here, made us, and then they decide, okay, we're done, but we have a bunch of them, so we're just going to leave. We'll let nature take its course. They'll probably die off anyways, right? But they left us some principles to live by here. Treat each other good, don't kill each other, take care of the least of us, take care of the injured. Humans don't kill humans, that kind of stuff. Maybe they gave us some stuff and they left. Well, if this was a species that actually could interdimensional travel, that means they have the ability to literally bend time and space. So when they take off in time and they leave and come back, with the way that time works and the way travel works and how fast they move and how they can manipulate things, they might be gone for like 5 years and come back and literally 10,000 years have went by. And they're like, whoa, we just left a few people there. Now look at them. We got to wipe them out again. Which is part of some stories too, that flood thing, wiping out something that we didn't agree with because they'd become wicked and mean and knew too much. And so we're going to wipe them out with the flood. Maybe they come back every so many years to see how the progress is and be like, man, they just can't get it right. We're going to wipe them out with a disease, with the flood, with the whatever. And maybe that's what God is. Maybe God is something that just, maybe, or what created them. So I guess my point is, just because something creates something doesn't mean that it really keeps track of what it created, right? I'm not saying God was a rolling stone, but maybe he was, left a little DNA here, moved on. Maybe they're dead. maybe they're gone. Maybe, and we're the remnants of these things that gave us big brains, and maybe they're gone and never coming back again. There's a lot of thoughts about being human that I could talk about, aspects, that I wonder, like, is this a simulation? Is this heaven? People thought they have to live through this to get to heaven. This is a pretty damn good place we live at. It's a world with endless possibilities, but it's small enough to where you can see everything in a lifetime, pretty much. Almost everything. You can, if you have enough resources and time and ability to travel, you can see all the world. You can go to space nowadays. And there's a lot to this place, which makes it a wonderful place to be at. This is heaven to me. If we get along, it's a greater place, because there is no guarantee there's a tomorrow. There's no guarantee there's an afterlife. There's no guarantee this isn't a simulation that every night when I go to sleep that I wake up and I go to the real world that I hate because it's like something that I can't even imagine, right? And this is what I pay for, like a game, is to have this reality, because it's better than the reality that I'm in. Like that's just as feasible as there being a God. It's something I can't prove, but I can logically wrap my mind around. Or what is it? Occam's razor, the simplest answer, or the simplest, answer is what it is, basically. And Yeah, this is a product of evolution. We wiped everything out, survival of the fittest, and we're going to keep on doing it until we either leave this planet or we die on this planet. And we just happened to get smart quick and did something. I don't know. Something made us different than everything else. Maybe it was those mushrooms. There's a theory that we ate hallucinogenic mushrooms and it caused our brains to expand, caused communication to develop, and we became the different ones that changed. And that kept with us for a long time. There's a lot of evidence in hallucinogenic mushrooms and hallucinogenic concoctions that have been part of rituals for literally thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Maybe that's what's expanding our mind. I mean, we're related to mushrooms. You know, go back in evolution, we branched off from the mushroom species, and it's part us. Maybe that's how God communicates with us, is through that. Maybe that's how it's done. That's what religions say. A lot of old ancient things say that. Not all religions, but there's some old ancient texts that talk about how that's how you communicate with the gods, is to enter the spirit realm where they're at. I don't know. I don't know what makes us human, but I can say that I think we can do better. I think we can do better. And humans aren't bad for that matter. We're just, I don't know. So I don't know. I guess it's an open-ended question. I'll talk about it a lot. I'll visit the subject more and more. But so I guess my question is, what makes us human, right? What makes us human? Is it the ability to tell a story? Is it the quality to, I don't know, overcome adversity? Is it language? Is it a thing to build something? Is it problem solving? Is there anything else like us? And how do we fit in on this planet? And why don't we fit in my opinion? So what's your thoughts on that? Thanks for watching this long, and let me know what you think. And if you like this, subscribe, share to your friends, to your foes, to everybody. Thank you for watching this episode of Blue Green's World.